If you start thinking about things that are not working currently, it's probably because you're using old information in a new era. And that's why it's not working. That's why you're broke. That's why you're not where you want to be. That's why you're not generating the amount of income that you want, or getting the fulfillment that you want, or making as much progress as you want. You're implementing old principles in a new era.
Who's this? Oh, you're an entrepreneur? Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, you're trying to learn from those who did it. Well, come into the lab then. Put your white coat on, gloves on, notepad, and let's build, y'all.
Experiment Nation, your host, Ruben Kanya here. And I'm currently in the studio, and at this time, we're only 2 days away from Christmas, which means we're only just a week and some change away from the 2024, the end of 2024, going into our 2025, which is crazy when you look at this year. The next year that's coming above us, it seems even very futuristic when you look at it. 2025, you start thinking of things in 2030, etc. And it really just um it's about, especially at this time of the year, defining what your era is going to be into the new year. I like to get ahead of it. I've already been ahead of it. I've been so ahead of it, I've already put a template that I actually want to share with you together on in the lab with you today, because I think it's important for us to always reflect. um, I'm constantly reevaluating um my my goals, my results. So I don't just wait at this time of the year, but I know this conversation is very prevalent for most of us, or some of you, and you might be listening to a lot of new year's resolutions, etc., which is good. I think a year metric is good. I like quarterly metrics, I like monthly metrics, but it's good nonetheless. Whether you do New Year's resolutions or not, it's good to reflect on the previous year, especially if you're goal oriented, especially if you're purpose driven, especially if you have things you're looking to accomplish, changes you're looking to make, people you're looking to inspire, people you're looking to help, freeing yourself from the day to day. If you have goals, dreams, and aspirations and big ones, I trust that you're probably on the same path that I am on, and it's just level setting, putting the right foot forward for the 2025 year. And I want to give you some tools and frameworks that have been really powerful for me, and some frameworks that I've been really reflecting on these past a couple weeks, leading into what is, us knocking on the door of 2025, as crazy as that sounds. And so I want to start off with just thinking about, when I think of defining your era, I think it's most important for us to understand what era that we're in. And one thing I love about the lab is, we do unconventional experiments to get unconventional results, but we don't do this in a black hole, or we're doing it in a medium. So I think it's really important for us to think about, you know, the days, the environments that we're in, the economy that we're in. And as we think about our strategies, make sure that we're not implementing old strategies in a new medium. That's really important. I really want that to sink in for a second, because one of the things one of my mentors said is that if you start thinking about things that are not working currently, it's probably because you're using old information in a new era. And that's why it's not working. That's why you're broke. That's why you're not where you want to be. That's why you're not generating the amount of income that you want, or getting the fulfillment that you want, or making as much progress as you want. Is you're implementing old principles in a new era. And so when I think of that, I think about defining the era of the era that we're in. And I was inspired to think about this in really, you know, very interesting sequences, right? So I want to break this down, and then I want to think about Then I want to go into brand equity because I just came back from holiday parties and amazing um, mastermind that we had with my mastermind here in the inner circle, where we had a chapter here in Atlanta, and so many people showed up and we got a chance to pour into each other. um but what that means and why that's so successful and why you should actually double down on your brand equity into the new year. That was at Rich Summers event as well. It was amazing, getting a chance to run into some great operators, and amazing, friends in our industry. So shout out to Rich Summers for putting together an amazing event. I'm always um, I like to give my flowers to people who are able to bring quality people together, because when you bring quality people together and you're a quality person, there's quality relationships and deals and conversations and support that happens even when you're not in that room. And I know I can attest to this for my mastermind, because I'll connect and I'll say, oh yeah, I'm working with such and such to do this. I'm like, you are really? Oh yeah, I partnered with this person to do that. And that just warms my heart. And I think when you think about that too, you need to think about, what you're bringing to the table and what room you need to be in. That was another big thing too. Rich was highlighting that is, you need to be in the room where you're just a few connections away from getting to your dream, or you're in the room with people who have already achieved your dream, and there's always some kind of value you can add. We are human, as are very unique individuals. This whole imposter syndrome about, oh my god, how can I add value to this person that's already ahead? We all need help. At the end of the day, we all need help regardless of where we're at. You can offer something even by listening, which is one tool that I like to utilize when I'm in a room with someone who maybe already has what I want, maybe already has achieved the thing that I'm working towards. There's always some way I can help them as well. So keeping that in mind, that's brand equity, right? And we talk about appreciation, we talk about all these equity that we build, whether it's stocks, shares, whether it's real estate equity, but we don't talk about our brand equity enough, which I'm going to talk about. And then I want to give you a template um, that I've used, and I think it'll change the game, because it'll be a template that you can apply in your era with respect to the era, so that you can define what your era is going to be in today's era. And all that means is defining where you're headed and why you're doing it, and most importantly, um, giving you a roadmap for the how. So let's talk about eras for a second. So Myron Golden talked about this. One of my mentors, he's amazing. And one of the things he talked about was like, if you think about the different eras, and there's something that's fascinating that's occurred, right? One is, if you think about the eco era, that's from the 1700s to the 1750s. It was land equaled wealth, and that's why hence the name landlord was around. If you had land, you had wealth, right? You could plant um, plant your crops, let it harvest your crop, whatever the case might be. I'm not a farmer, but of course, there's a concept there. When you had a land, there's value, and still to this day, land is valuable because they're not making more of it. But that was the big age of land, right? And you were wealthy if you had land. And then after, there was the industrial age from the 1750s to the 1950s, where people started to create machine, essentially machines, right? Machines to address uh, the the land, right? So if you're creating a machine to harvest the crop, or um, you know go ahead and start to engage with it could be farmers machine, it could be industrials making factories, etc. That was the industrial age, when things really start to pop, right? And that's where the working 8-hour week came. That's where you had to get um, you know permission at the time, right? Because you're still working with somebody that you can be a project manager, you can manage people, etc. So that was more the industrial age. And then there was this very fascinating thing that happened is, uh, because of each age, it kind of turned into, each age was supporting the next age, right? Or the next era, I should say. So then there's the distribution age, because you got all this land, you got all this, crops, corn that you're selling, etc. Now you got these factories that need to distribute it, and or even possibly outlets such as malls, right? Distribution of goods, etc. So outlets equaled wealth, right? Malls, department stores, Sears, J.C. Penney, you name it. Malls were really big back then too. But then in the 1978 to 1994, then the tech age came in, the personal computer was created, and then information started to travel very quickly, etc. Um, you know, People were programmers, etc. And then right around, if you start thinking about the 2000, right, 94 to 2003, um, it was information that was transferred on the internet. It was the info age, which, Google ads, all that stuff, AdSense, that started to come around. And then there was the techno info age, which was controlling the flow of info equaled wealth. And that was from 94 to 2003. And so, or sorry, the techno age was from 2003 to 2008. Education, entertainment, YouTube, right? You start thinking about that. And what's fascinating is all principles or, you know, uh, areas that within those ages, it's not that being a landlord doesn't work today's age, but it means that in the new age, there are some advantages, right? That you can have because this is where the money is flowing. That's where all the opportunities are. It's not that you can't make money being a farmer. Uh, there's some of the most people who have tons of wealth, tons of land, wineries, etc. We were just in California at some wineries. That's old money, right? That's a lot of. As a matter of fact, there's this. I forget what the exit was for. It's about just under $1 billion. Somebody just sold their. They had essentially a winery and a vineyard or whatever the case might be. They bought it, invested in it, and got a huge ROI on that. So that stuff still works, right? But it just means like where's all the attention, resources going? That's when you want to think about that age, right? People still make money with info marketing, technology, land, real estate, that all works. And the reason I bring this up is because when you think of now 2008 to 2021, it's strategic partnerships equal wealth, affiliate marketing, companies giving you the opportunity to be, sell their product to make just as much money as they are because they understand the power of influencers, partnerships, affiliate marketing. Think about Facebook, think about YouTube, right? We're creating content for a platform that's already been built. All these, that's a partnership. Creating apps in an app store, that's a partnership, right? Where you create an app and you're servicing a platform, and creating video games for these, I don't know, these video game platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, all that. Like those are partnerships, right? People will, develop a video game, put it on, and then distribute it on an existing platform, whether it's online or whatever the case might be. So that's where it gets very interesting. And then now what we're in is integrated intelligence, aka AI, the integration of technology to save you time, money, and effort and energy, which is interesting because AI has been around for a little while, but now what we're seeing is we're starting to engage and interact with it as humans, which makes it that much special because automation has been around for quite some time, but now we're able to engage with AI. Right? Think of Chat GPT, think of you think of OpenAI, like all those things. It's just interacting with humans and technology, and so because we have this tool, I think even how we choose to set our goals for 2025 needs to change because if you have a tool that's able to have a lot of data, you can almost have a cabinet of counselors to consult you in your next ventures. And so this past couple months, I've been doing just that, but I've been doing it strategically. And this is where I want to give you a template. I've been doing strategically in the sense that I've been giving the AI tool as much information as possible as to where my current situation is. And what I am telling it to be, I'm telling the AI to act as a, multiple individuals you need to pay a lot of money for. right? And depending on your situation, you might define that. You might say act as a blank um, specialist. Now, again, by any means, I'm not saying AI is going to, is here to replace your doctor, your therapist, etc. Right? Don't take that loosely. There's experts that are experts for a reason. But with that said, there's a lot of knowledge that's been consolidated where you can plug in this cabinet of advisors that can help you refine your strategy and your goal a little bit. Not even a little bit, a lot of it. And remember, who, not how does not change. I still think that's a theme going into 25, but that who can also be automated intelligence because you can interact with it based on the inputs that you get better outputs, and those outputs can help you then know which who to fund. As a matter of fact, I'm just doing this right now as I'm getting to a creative finance deal. I'm saying, hey, can you assess this deal? Can you assess this? What question should I be asking? Is this too risky? Like, should I be looking at this? What else can I consider doing? What are some of my blind spots? What are some of my biases going into this question that I'm asking that isn't allowing me to see another option to explore because of those biases, right? Like, I mean, there is a plethora of things that you can ask the tool by simply being inquisitive and having the right um, basically mindset that you can leverage now automation that can help you think, not teach you uh, what to think, but teach you but help you on how to think and if you're actually thinking about the right thing with all the information that has. So I've been putting together this template where what I'm really doing, what's really important is for you to cater to your your experience uniquely. And so what that means is it's you really want to focus on um, making sure that you are giving the tool that has access to the world as much information of what's in your world so that it can aggregate the correct era, the correct information, latest and greatest, and align it with the question that you're asking with respect to where you are at. One of my favorite things that I always talk about, that one of my buddies um, always says is really important for you to start with where you're at. Don't look at where somebody else is at to start. You have a unique situation. You have unique skills. You have possibly unique challenges, even though I would say no challenges are unique because there is no challenge that you're facing that someone else has not faced. There's high likelihood someone else has faced the very same challenge and actually better yet worse. So somebody actually won with less than what you had and with more challenges that you're facing. That's the reality. And so with that said, the truth is there's an opportunity for you to leverage a tool that will help aggregate what's best in your world. And so what that really means is the following. You really want to first tell in a tool like Chat GPT or an AI tool of any kind, you want to first reframe kind of the point you're coming from. So one of the things, the prompts, I think prompt engineers are I think going to be key in this era of technology because of AI, because now based on the quality of question that you ask, you get a quality of response. And the truth is most people don't really know how to ask good questions. It's a shame how many times you might be in a room with someone has all the knowledge in the world. You're in the right room. There's nothing worse than being in the right room and not knowing the right question to ask. You have the most important person in the world. Shouldn't let me rephrase that. You have one of the most knowledgeable person in your world with respect to your goals and dreams, and you're in a room with them and you don't know what to ask them. And the beauty is now we have tools that can help us that. But first of all, what's most important when I think of brand equity and building your brand is you knowing what question you should be asking. Right? It's so important for you to ask the question accordingly. So one is you want to prompt your AI to be a specialist of some kind. So in my template that I put together, I said career consultant, financial advisor, real estate consultant, economist, trend analyst, life coach, digital marketing strategist, and specialist who has helped someone who is in my position, who is hungry to learn, eager, and is willing to take major leaps. Now I've given it priming where This is where I'm coming from. This is where I'm starting. Yours might not be the same. Experiment Nation, you've heard me talk about how multiple investors across the nation are landing these lucrative midterm rental insurance contracts by making these small tweaks on the branding and marketing side, especially if you're an existing short term rental operator. There is a quick and easy shift that you can make with the ride guide in place. And because we've launched a 2-day boot camp that not everyone could attend in real time, I've put together a recording where you can get all the materials and all the guides to focus on rebranding either your short-term rental business or your current midterm rental business so that you can actually have the insurance companies reach out to you. And then day 2 is if you want to actually play offense, how you can reach out to them by listing on the right platforms, etc. If you're looking to get this MTR bootcamp so that you can start optimizing and you can start receiving these lucrative contracts that again provide less headaches, less turnovers, unlike the Airbnb space, you can start receiving inquiries today by having the right guide in place. So please go to experimentrealestate.com/MTR bootcamp or click the link in the bio to make sure you get your hands on the midterm rental insurance bootcamp to fast track your way into landing these lucrative insurance contracts the exact same ways multiple investors have taken advantage of this unknown and untapped niche within the midterm rental umbrella. This is where I'm seeking inspiration. This is where I want to get some level of guidance from. So therefore, this is from the lens. If there was something where I needed a lawyer, etc., I want to put that in there to preface the lens of where I'm looking to get specialties from. World class. I want to put world class there. Top, cream of the crop. Why? Because that's my brand. I want the best advice, not mediocre. As a matter of fact, if you feel like you get high level advice, say, hey, what does that look like at a level 3 level 5, level 10? Because that sounded more like a level 1. Give me more. That is key in your prompts. Now, what you want to do, I'll give you guys a high level of this. If you want the template, email me on ruben@experimentrealestate.com because I want everybody to win. If you're listening to this, you want to win, just email me, hey, send me the template over. And so you really want to make sure that you drop and give it as much detail as possible about your current situation, current mindset, current roadblocks, current financial situation, your current assets, your current strengths, your team, what you have liquid, credit score, whatever it is you want to put in there with respect to where you're coming from, skill sets that you have, experience that you have, assets that you have, performance that you have, cash flow that you're making, liquidity, debt, everything. Give it what it needs, right? Your project that you're looking to tackle, your financial position, your your opportunities, extracurricular, you name it, anything that's tied to the main vision, the main goal, put it in there. It's critical for you to put it in there because only then will you be in a position where you're giving the tool all the data points that it needs to focus on you and how you relate to the world and the worldwide of information that it has on the World Wide Web, right? We are unique. Therefore, it's important for you to uniquely drop in value. If you say, hey, I'm a 22-year-old, I'm looking to do this, you're going to get basic 22-year-old. If you say I'm a 22-year-old and I have a specific question around this, or I'm a 50-year-old woman and 45 man, I'm looking to transition. This is the experience that I have. This is my career. This is how much that I have. This is blah, 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 blah. Right now, you're giving the tool very unique, critical details, right? To help you address a situation or a challenge or even an opportunity um, that will give you the most feedback and output. So what I can't stress enough is that you give it as much detail as possible. I'm talking about your pain points. I'm talking about your assets. I'm talking about your areas that are not so good where you're like, this is where I'm struggling. I'm talking about anything that you feel is going to be helpful, that you would tell your counselor, your advisor, or your financial advisor, or your someone you're looking to get insight from. Do not hold back. The more you give it, the more it's going to give back to you. And now, let's say you did this in Chat GPT, which is what I did. Then you also give it your vision, your goals, your 3-year goal, your 5-year goal, and then you ask questions for strategic clarity. Right. These are questions I want to share with you that you should, even regardless of AI, be thinking about this going into 2025. This is after I did this brain dump, and I spent hours, guys, doing this. Right. You should be spending hours doing this, because imagine the amount of preparation it takes to, do the Olympics, or perform in the Olympics, or perform in a show. People who perform well spend more time preparing to perform than they do the actual performance. Those are world class individuals in their craft. They spent more time in preparation than they do performing. Amateurs just spend as much time or as little time preparing that they do for the actual performance. And so it's called winging it. And guess what? The last thing you should be winging is your life. Right. And it's so important that we start to think, that you start to think. And when I speak for myself. So important that we start to think strategically and take a beat to start zooming out and thinking about our brand. You invest so much into other people's brand, right? Like, it's Christmas, we're spending all this money investing into other people's brands, gifts and stuff, that we almost sabotage our own selves by just being so external and not working from within, because what you see on the outside is reflective of what's in on the inside. And so definitely take the time. And I can't tell you how unfortunate that is, because I'm at a gym, and I have this, I play tennis every week. And I went to my alma mater, and there's this young girl at the front desk, and I keep on running into her, and I asked her what she wanted first, and she didn't know. And it's okay, she's a senior. I don't expect, most adults don't even know what they want, so how can you ask a 20 something year old what they want? But I wanted to dig in with her, and I asked her, what do you want? She's like, no one's really asked me that before, and I really haven't really thought about it. I'm like, no problem. Came back a week later and asked her, hey, did you think about it? Did you do the exercise? I'm like, no, I didn't get to it. I'm like, okay, well, make sure you get to it. I'm going to ask you next time I see you. Saw her for a third time. I asked her, hey, did you do the exercise? And she's like, no, I didn't do the exercise. I'm going to wait for the holidays. And what's unfortunate, it had been about 3-4 weeks to a month, because it was last Thanksgiving, right? Now it's December. And she hadn't done the exercise. And you know what? She's not alone. Most of us don't do the exercise. You'll ask somebody what they want, they'll think about it, they'll struggle with it, they won't give you a clear answer. And guess what they'll do? They'll never go back to it. They'll just get caught up in the day to day. Being busy is not being productive. And being productive is certainly being productive and strategic in your goals and where you're going. And most of us get consumed by either entertainment. There's plenty of entertainment. There's plenty of people pushing their agenda your way with their ads and their marketing and their targeting. And if you get consumed by it without taking the time that it takes for you to have the clarity that you need, um unfortunately, it's you're not gonna you're gonna be operating in somebody else's era and medium and goal, and not your own. And so it's really important that we think about, um and take the time to work on ourselves. And if I were to bet, unfortunately, I don't think she's going to do the exercise, because it's just a paradigm, a multitude of fixed ideas in the subconscious mind. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you don't take the time to work on yourself, you probably won't ever do it. And if you continue to push it down, you'll continue to push it down and punt it, and it'll never be a priority. Um, and that's unfortunate, because um, it's everything to do this exercise. And so here are the questions I want to leave with you, that I want to give you here. One is, the question that I asked for clarity when I put all this in the AI tool. Then I asked it, which skill would you double down on to fast track your results? What should be your primary focus for 2025? What is the biggest lever you can pull on right now? What is the most untapped opportunity you have? Who should be your next strategic hire to accelerate your growth, depending on, again, if you're in a position to hire or partner, you could say, next strategic partnership. What actions could help you achieve your income goals quickly? Which strategies have you not yet implemented that could 10x your results? What are you completely overlooking that could be a game changer? How can you capitalize on industry trends and your existing strengths to gain a competitive advantage? Those questions are powerful, but then we added a bonus question because I ran this by some of my, my peers in my mastermind. And one question I want to add is, what other questions should I be asking to achieve my highest level? What bias am I conveying by these questions? Am I missing anything else? Right. And then if you get a response and it's not as clear to you, it's high level, you say, can you give me a deeper level 3 response? And then one of the things we thought of too is, I haven't implemented this yet, is like, is my calendar in alignment with my goal? If not, what should it look like? If you start thinking about that, like the level of activities, and they say that if you look at someone's calendar, you can tell how successful they are. You can tell how, and I use that word loosely, successful, because, maybe peace of mind is what you want. So you don't have anything on your calendar. I don't know, whatever you're optimizing for. But you should be able to look at someone's calendar and be like, okay, this is where they're at. This is where they're going. Or this is probably the result that I can um, uh, predict that they're having by looking at someone's calendar, because your calendar dictates the actions that you take and the output that you're going to receive, right? I mean, you get what you put in. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you start thinking about that, you're like, this is really neat. But this is even more important than anything, to give it as much input as possible to then get the output that gives you guidance. Because now when you have this thread in chat GPT or whatever the case might be, and again, you can get super creative with this, you can now continue to consult that throughout the year and say, hey, am I tracking towards this quarterly? How about this next month? Where am I at? Hey, by the way, here's the update of this thing. Like I've been doing this morning. Like I had an update where, okay, great. Like these are going to be the terms. These are going to be this is what I'm looking to do. This is the update on this specific investment. This is an opportunity that came my way. Is it worth for me exploring based on the long-term goal that we discussed, right? Now you have this consult, this open thread which you can go back to and has all the context that it needs to give you at least insight into the right direction you need to go into. Again, I'm a huge fan. So important to be in a community because you'll be held accountable. But even if you have this as a guide, as a template, because a lot of us don't have a guide. A lot of us are not in community. A lot of us who are in community are the ones that get results the fastest. This is why mastermind groups are powerful. This is why a mentor is powerful. But even in addition to your mentor, in addition to community, before anything, identify which community you need to be a part of. That is an exercise you want to do. And you can ask the question, based on my goals, what should be the communities I need to be a part of this year? And how early, how soon, based on what I want to do this year, based on my 3-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal. And it's really important that you think about that. And that actually resonates with one of the things at the holiday party Rich had said, is you want to be in the rooms of people that inspire you, that are either accomplishing the thing you're trying to do or have already accomplished it. Because now you're just completely aligned and you have their paradigm there, you have their opportunities, you have their network, you have their net worth. I know that's a big thing right now that I'm experiencing, is like, now that I'm in these higher level rooms, I also have their higher level connections. If I say, hey, do you know someone such and such? I'm getting a higher level connection by simply being in that room. And so you need to think, what rooms do I need to be a part of? I know I've definitely thought about this exercise, but you don't even have to think about yourself. You can use a consultant, a cabinet, right? I believe, think presidents have like 12 members on the cabinets or whatever. I don't know what it is. There's a certain number of people that they have as an advisory that they can go to on a day-to-day basis to make big decisions. And there's no more bigger, important decision than the ones that you're making every single day for your life. So with that said, I want to put a bow on this with brand equity, because I do think I've had a few encounters this week where it really has resonated with me with, and I'm not saying this to kind of say, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm sharing with this to encourage you that you can always add value, and your brand can always be something that you count on. One of my mentors, I was just reading this morning, where we talk about the appreciation in an asset. Great. We talk about the shareholder equity, etc., stocks, etc. But what about your brand equity, right? How about you say you're going to do something, you do it? How about you go above and beyond, make people feel good? How about you're always listening? How about you're always looking to actually serve and be of value? How about you ask other people, even when you feel you may not have anything to offer, you ask them how you can help? How about you actually become proactive in looking into things that they may need help with and bring it to the table? How about just anytime people around you, they feel better because you actually listen, you're inquisitive, you're curious about what they do, and there's mutual interest there? How about that? How about building some brand equity? How about pouring in and giving and helping someone without having anything to expect in return, so that you don't even know how it might come full circle? How about that? There's nothing about brand equity. There's nothing about building a personal brand, and a personal brand is no other person than you. It's how you present yourself to the world. It's how you say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say. It's about your word is your bond. It's about helping others. It's about having a bigger vision. It's about making inspiring other people. It's about uplifting other people. It's about believing in others when they don't believe in themselves. It's about being a guide. It's about being a mentor. It's about being a mentee. It's about being a student. How about that for appreciation in your brand, in your equity? How much brand equity have you built and will you build in 2025? That's the question. How much will you be building? Because I can say it's really refreshing when I get on calls and I hear, well, by the way, I was on a call today this week, and it was like a gentleman was like, hey, by the way, I never got a chance to thank you. I'm like, for what? And he went back to something I'd done before. I'm like, well, great. Well, it's funny because while I was on that call, I needed his help and I was seeking for his guidance. And so when you start thinking about brand equity, A, use the template and then identify which rooms you need to be in. And when you're in those rooms, just be your authentic self and just care. Be more, do more to have more. And when you're in the right room, right setting, and you are in your zone of genius, and you're doubling down, you have clarity of where you're going, and you're in that right room and you're with the right people and you care and you pour into them, they'll by law will pour back into you, because that is the law of the universe. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. The more you put in, the more you will get back out, and the bigger become the person that it is that you're becoming, to do the thing, to then have the thing, to then bless the world. So with that said, in 2025, what is your brand equity? Have you defined your era? Are you leveraging the existing era that you're in to do something, to leverage the tools that are given to us in this economy to get the results that you want to get? Are you using old principles? Well, I shouldn't say old principles, because principles always work. But are you using principles in a new era? Or are you using principles in an old era? And if so, how has that worked for you? And if it didn't, then if you do what you've always done, you get what you always got. But if you start thinking about the new era and applying existing principles that work in that new era, that worked in the current era, right? Because we're still in the same era, that worked in 2024. What are you going to double down on? What is it that you're going to double down on? And what is it that you're going to get rid of? Because you got to trim the fat. And, our time isn't infinite here on this planet. We got to make the best use of it. With that said, this year, I want to say um, some paradigm shifting mantras, or at least mindset shifts that I had. One, I think the book of the year for me was Die with Zero. Maybe I was late to the party, but I really indulged in it. Um, and so that was very big for me. And Who Not How is still a personal theme of mine that I go by. And then the laws, right? Just understanding the laws of the universe, understanding how laws of reciprocity, just everything that it takes to continue to be a giver and someone that learns, that someone is looking to, again, um, becoming the person that's ready to do the thing to help others, to then have the thing, right? If you help enough people get what they want, you can have anything that you want. And with that said, experimentation, I'm very appreciative of the time that you spend on the air with me, in the studio with me, and I cannot wait. If you haven't collaborated together and you're still listening to this, please, 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 leave me a review. This is how the amount of connections I've been able to make in our industry from people who are even listen to the show, who then end up either coming on the show or even being partners, real estate partners, or mastermind members. It's just incredible. And even people who share wins with me after the fact, with all my free content that I put out there. It means everything to me. So please, if you could help me with the algorithm, take 2 seconds out of your time. I record content every week, multiple times. And so if I could just ask for 10 seconds, 15, if not, if you're listening to this on iTunes, if you're listening to this on Spotify, even on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on Spotify, leave me a review on iTunes. Please leave me a review, because that helps the algorithm bring more people like us to listen, to connect, so that we can all elevate. And of course, it helps me individually continue to have a great community that I really, truly am grateful for every single day, that I'm able to be here on the air with you in your audio, whether you're listening to this and you're driving, you're at the gym, or you're traveling somewhere, or you're just in your home and you're doing some busy work, and you're even cleaning, and you're listening to this on the background. Just to be in your have me in your presence is an honor. Truly, it really is, because our time is valuable, and you could have been anywhere in the world. You have so many options to choose from, and you're here listening to me, and you're here hopefully getting a lot of value from me, and that's why I pour in. And so I thank you for your attention and your time, the most valuable thing in the world. And with that said, I want to make sure 2025 is everything that you want in your world, and then some. So please, if you're interested in that template I was talking about, grab my MTR Insurance Blueprint. You'll be on my email list, and then you can do a reply. You have to be on my email list. You'll do a reply and say, send me the blueprint. Send me the 2025 template. Just put that in the subject line, 2025 goal setting template. 2025 goal setting template. My assistant will send it out to you. It's literally the one that I'm using right now, and you can just copy paste into your template, so that you can be asking the right questions in your world, in your buckets and pillars, and you can also tweak it to your liking. And then you'll have those questions that I talk about for strategic clarity, so that you can define what's going to happen in your era, the brand equity you're going to build, and how you're going to navigate in this new era that we're in, the principles that work, that get results. So with that said, Experimentation, let it be a great year of health, wealth, love, and happiness, and freedom on your other side of wherever you are in the globe, in your lab. Let's build. Experimentation, I believe there are two critical components that will help you achieve your goals very quickly and succeed. Number one, it's information like this that you received on a show, in an episode, and content that you can find on my YouTube channel or anybody's channel. And then there's a community. And the way we've been able to expedite our process, the way people in our community, people that we consult, mastermind members, whoever, they get the information on an episode like this, but then they also have a support, whether it's me guiding them or being guided through a community. There is an opportunity for you listening to be able to expedite your process, or even expedite your results that you're seeking by being in part of the community. If that is what you're interested in, we at Experiment Nation happen to have a community devoted to helping maximize your occupancy and your profitability altogether, regardless of which market that you are in. And for that reason, you have an opportunity where you can go to experimentrealestate.com/submit if you're looking to work in an environment that can help you prosper faster. Call out any areas that you might not be familiar in, especially the blind spots. That's where a guide comes in hand, and I would be a pleasure and honor to be your guide. But in order to make sure you're a good fit, make sure you go to experimentrealestate.com/submit, so that my team can go ahead and take it and see if you're a good fit to join the mastermind and the multiple programs that we have. In addition to that, I'm also now a YouTube partner, which means that I want to give you more access to information, more access to Q&As,
more access to the questions that actually come out of our mastermind that help people expedite the process. We've seen people get anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 to even $7,000 a month net on just one door by applying the strategies that we use by working with corporations and furnished accommodation in a very strategic way. So if you're interested, make sure you also subscribe, because I'm going to have different tiers that's on YouTube now that we've become YouTube partner, to continue to be the bridge to your success in your lab. And your lab means your life, your goals, or wherever you're trying to head. So make sure you also hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/real estate experiment. We'll be there. You can also look us up at Midterm Rental Insurance Experiment. We will be there. Make sure you hit the subscribe, because that's when you'll know the tiers that are available to you that make sense for you, your marketplace, for your results. Remember, you're only one experiment away. Let's build.